CryptoSI DAODAO. This is the second episode. This one is about the white paper and the tokenomics. It's a little bit longer than I really wanted it to be, but it's pretty interesting. Everything that you see here, none of it is financial advice, and it's good. It's good for now to be a spectator, but soon we're going to want you to get involved. So watch the rest of this video, and yeah, please do get involved. I will put a link to the Discord in the description. It's the DAODAO Discord, which is where we will be meeting until they kick us out. So let's get going. Hello and welcome to DAO Watch. This is the second, this is #2. This is the second video of the CryptoSI DAODAO series, in which we create a DAO on the DAODAO platform on the JUNO network. We've created it for the purposes of being a venture DAO, and we're just documenting the whole thing and just showing other people really how easy it is, what the pitfalls could be, how we could enjoy it, getting everybody involved and creating an actual legit DAO and seeing how far we can get with it. I am CryptoSI. A tiny bit of background about me. I was working for a DAO called PivX since 2016 for about 4 years, and then I went out into the world on my own. Prior to that, I was a community member in Dash. I still am a community member in both, but I don't have a actual team role anywhere. I've released a few projects here and there. I'm not a developer, but I am decently well versed in technology. I have been in crypto since 2012, so I'm what you would call an OG. Anyway, let's look at CryptoSI DAODAO. Now, the reason why we're making this video is to look at the white paper and quickly discuss the white paper as it is so far and the tokenomics. Now, it's important to stress that the white paper is a work in progress, because the DAO cannot create the white paper before the DAO can exist. But it's kind of difficult to create the DAO without the white paper, because people don't really know what they're getting themselves into. So I've written a first rough draft of the white paper. Once the DAO has been created, I'm going to attempt to put forward a proposal to allow the DAO to recognize the white paper and recognize the tokenomics or recognize the roadmap. But I won't be able to do that alone. I'll have to do that with the other members of the DAO community. So CryptoSI DAODAO now has a GitHub. I will put the link to the GitHub in the description. If we look at this GitHub, we go into the repositories. There is one repo for documentation. There will be other repos for code. There's one repo for documentation. There'll be repos for codes, probably repos for the website. Anything else that we need, I guess contracts and things like that can also go in the repo. They should go in IPFS really, but there's nothing to say they can't go in both places. The plan is that when somebody wants to create a venture DAO, that CryptoSI DAODAO is the go-to thing that you fork, because it has all the things in there that your venture DAO will need. So let's have a look. Here is the documentation that we're planning on creating: white paper, setup guides, technical documentation, community guidelines, FAQs, and legal and regulatory compliance stuff. Let's look at the white paper. Remember, this is version, 0.5 or whatever. As I said, I'll put links to the description, links in the description below, but to give you guys a rough overview, here is the executive summary. It just really breaks down what CryptoSI DAODAO is: decentralized organization, autonomous organization built on the JUNO network. It should be leveraging the benefits of JUNO's low fees, fast transactions, creating a DAO created with DAODAO tooling. CryptoSI DAODAO aims to support the development and growth of decentralized applications, otherwise known as Dapps, and further the adoption of the JUNO blockchain. The the fact that it's a venture blockchain means that the decentralized applications, whatever money they make, will go back into the DAO, and then the DAO will decide how it's going to then distribute those funds to fund other decentralized applications, or to invest in other tokens, or to invest in NFTs, or to create public goods. There's no limit to what the DAO, well, there are limits obviously, but there's no limits to what we can envisage for the DAO to be doing. The DAO will start off with a $10,000 donation from myself. I may in the future put in a proposal to get that back. I might not. It may not pass, it might pass. The idea behind the initial donation is just to pay for things that may need to be paid for before there's any kind of distribution of the actual tokens within the DAO, or any voting rights or anything like that. So the DAO does start with a small fund to look after itself. Planning on doing an NFT collection. Will serve as both a funding mechanism and a means for individuals to gain memberships in the DAO. NFT holders will enjoy discounted memberships and access to Dapps created by the DAO. Obviously, this is subject to what the DAO decides at the time of the NFT collection's creation. But roughly, this is how I envisage it. It's by no means a promise or a guarantee. I can't tell you what the DAO will decide in the future. Overall, CryptoSI DAODAO envisions a thriving ecosystem that advances the JUNO blockchain and the broader crypto space through innovation, Dapps, and a vibrant, inclusive community by fostering collaboration, transparency, and shared responsibility. That's very important. I want people to really get involved in the DAO. I want it to be inclusive on a cognitive level more than anything. I want people who think differently. If you've seen any of the videos I've made about DAOs, I think it's very important that you have that cognitive diversity. You have people who think differently, and then you try to even out the differences in the way that they think. I discussed that quite a lot in my DAO Watch series. In case you haven't seen it, I'll put the link in the description. Okay, introduction and background. That's just a little bit about DAOs and about JUNO. You can skip that. You can read it when you want. Objective and goals. This will definitely change in the final version because I can't lay out the objectives and the goals before the DAO exists. The DAO has to do that. But what I feel the objectives and goals should be is to foster innovation in the JUNO ecosystem, facilitate collaboration and resource sharing, financial sustainability and value creation. Now, what that means is I want this DAO to be able to wipe its own face. I don't want anybody to have to continue to fund it. I don't want VCs to fund it. I don't want whales to fund it. I don't want people to fund the DAO and take control of it who have their own agendas, which may not be for the betterment of the network or crypto in general, or whatever the manifesto that this DAO creates may be. So the idea is that the DAO has a purpose, the DAO has a vision, and if the DAO is financially sustainable, there's less chance of that DAO being co-opted to go and do something else. We've seen in the past, for example, privacy projects stop being privacy projects because somebody's come in with a lot of money and said, well, I don't really want that because I don't want to get delisted, etc., etc. Community budgeting and engagement, of course. Community building and engagement. Of course, the stronger the community, the more different thoughts are coming in, the more skill sets are available for the DAO to utilize. So community building is massive. Commitment to transparency and decentralized governance. I'm really big on that. So I've put that in there. I want everything to be as transparent as possible. I don't want there to be private meetings or things like that. I want people to, when they are building, I want them to build in public as best as they can. There will be times when that's not possible. But when there are times when that's not possible, I want that to be transparent also. I want there to be, okay, this person is in charge of, let's say, exchange listings. So he can't work in public because exchanges aren't going to want you to know how much what the current stage of negotiations are. Now, the most important part as I see it, is, oh, I have to click this to show me more pages, is the tokenomics. The purpose and utility of the CRDD token. The CRDD token is going to be the CryptoSI DAODAO token. There is an obvious chance that as soon as the DAO is created, someone puts in a proposal to rebrand it. That would make sense. CryptoSI DAODAO is a pretty horrible name, but you know, people like horrible names. The token will serve multiple purposes. You can stake it for a reward that's going to hopefully put upwards pressure on the value of the token. Rewards will be funded by either the proceeds generated from previously built Dapps, we'll have to look into the legality of that, or by newly created tokens. We'll have to see which way it works. I guess with projects like Ethereum, the staking rewards are from newly created tokens and from fees from people using the network, but also the network fees, a portion of them are burnt, so we could do something like that. It's totally up in the air. Governance, this is the main part. Maybe I should have put governance as number 1 and staking as number 2. If you've got the CRD token, it's the sole token used for voting in CryptoSI DAODAO. That could change in the future. We could allow people with JUNO tokens to stake. Who knows what the future holds. Token holders can participate in the decision-making process. They can propose new ideas. They can vote on critical matters related to the DAO's operation and development. Okay, let's talk Turkey now. Let's talk numbers. The initial distribution of CRDD tokens will be carried out through a token event sale. That may change, but that seems to me to be the fairest way to do it. If you have an airdrop, you end up with, unless it's an activity made airdrop, which we can't do because it will take too long, you end up with, you're just giving tokens to the people who have already got tokens. You could do that quadratically, whereby you give less tokens to people who are richer, but I don't like the idea of giving the tokens purely to the whales. I would like to see a newly created system here that doesn't honor the incumbents too much. So we're going to try to do a token sale event. We'll see what happens with that. Additionally, CryptoSI.eth will provide 10,000 USD donation to jumpstart the project. Okay, that's a lot of money to throw away, but you know, YOLO. Token allocation, Right, so the token supply is 100 billion. The allocation details for different stakeholders are as follows. This is obviously subject to change. We want to have a community, a small bit of budget set aside for community and ecosystem growth. That may just go in the treasury and be an outline. Reserves and liquidity provision, that may just go in the treasury and be outlined. And to token sale participants, again, go in the treasury and be outlined. Token supply metrics, I've put something in here about burn mechanism and other supply related events. This is so speculative, I'm not even going to cover it. We just don't know what will happen. Value proposition, there are a few things that I want to do with this token. I want it to have meme token characteristics. I think people really enjoy when they have a lot of tokens. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. Is it jumping on a bandwagon? Maybe for some people, but you know, I've known and liked Doge since not long after I got involved in crypto. So I do like that characteristic of holding 10,000 tokens, even if they're only worth $10 or whatever. So the large token supply should give CRDD a meme token like appeal, making it attractive to crypto enthusiasts. We do like to ape in on stuff, and it's not aping if you get 0.5 or something. If you get 5 million, then it's aping. Utility driven value, the CRDD token derives its value from utility within the DAO, so you can use it for voting, staking, etc., etc. In conclusion, it should play a crucial role within the CryptoSI DAO ecosystem. So I've made this small table. Hopefully I can get a designer to make something a little bit better. This is quite a crude table, but basically it shows the token symbol. It shows how many of the tokens will be created, the initial distribution will be a token sale event. This probably shouldn't be in there. That's probably a small bit of a typo, so I'll change that. Token allocation, 10% will go to CryptoSI.eth for putting 10,000 into the treasury. Means that we're expecting a treasury of around 100,000. What we could do before the token sale is I could put back a percentage of that. I probably will put back a percentage of that, if not all of it. I can't put back all of it because we need somebody to be able to vote the thing into existence. So we'll bear that in mind. But after that initial token sale, I may put back a certain amount of my token allocation, whichever the community feels is fair. What is the token utility? So far, staking, rewards, and governance. Now, this may change over time. Hopefully, there will be other reasons to hold the token, and they will more than likely be created by partnerships and by decentralized applications that we create. Token supply mechanics, a burn mechanism for future NFT collections. So you may have an NFT collection which we create in collaboration with an artist, and if people want to buy the NFTs, and they will give, those NFTs will have a certain utility. Purchasing those NFTs may just burn the tokens as opposed to giving the tokens to any particular entity. I quite like that mechanism. It means that obviously the artist who makes the NFT collection doesn't get rich, so the supply suppression, if you will, is kind of shared between everybody within the community. Value proposition is in the meme token-like characteristics with strong utility-driven value. Governance structure, this is very rough. What I decided to do in this section is kind of imagine the DAO in a year or so's time. So the decision-making process will probably be like this from day one, where you have a pre-proposal discussion. That's where you discuss the proposal before you've committed it to the chain, so that you can really refine it and make it be the best it possibly can be. You then submit the proposal. At that point, we'll have to decide what the spam filter will be. Will there be a fee? How big will the fee be? Will you get the fee back if your proposal passes? A lot of these things are they are simply parameters within DAO. So a lot of these things are quite easy to control. For more information on that, I do suggest you watch the first two videos in this series, episode 0 and episode 1. There are discussions. Once a proposal's there should be feedback and discussion about how people should vote. It's just really going to be a lot of a popularity contest. This doesn't allow for refinement, so I need to remove that because you can't refine it once it's been put on chain. And voting, after the discussion phase, voting takes place. Voting weight is determined by the number of CRDD, blah blah blah. After that, really you need to start thinking about reporting. So there's a few mistakes in there really that I need to tidy up and clean up, but like I said, it's just a draft. I did rattle through it really quickly. Roles and responsibilities of different stakeholders, I'm not even going to cover that. That's kind of like a filler. Team members and advisors, there is no team. The team will be the people who hold the tokens, unless we have a situation where we vote in a team and we have the team or the council, I guess they will be, not the team. Team is definitely the wrong word. The council, and they may have veto powers over certain things. It does stop a few attack vectors, which I will cover in another video. We won't get into that now. But what we're saying here really is that in the future we'll have, if we do manage to get a hybrid governance model, we'll have the token holders who can vote, NFT holders who can vote, and then also like a council who can vote as well. Now, the weight of those three different tiers will be decided by the DAO itself. I'm not going to decide that. I shouldn't decide that. That should be decided by the community. And when it needs to be changed, if it needs to be changed, that should also be decided by the community because it's a DAO. Roadmaps and milestones. This is, again, very rough. I've said that very many times, but launch of CryptoSI DAO with the donation, release the NFTs, development of the DAO's governance structure, creation of Dapps, and continuous improvement. Seems about right. I could have possibly said before the release of the NFTs to create like a funding platform of some sort of ICO platform that will allow projects to be self-funded or be crowd-funded, let's say. Onboarding new projects and members. I think this is very important. I spoke about this at the start of the video. Why would we want to do that? To ensure the continued growth and success of the DAO, it's essential to onboard new projects and members who share the same visions and goals by fostering blah, 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 blah. We will go to hackathons. We will do community outreach. We will hold meetups and events, physical and virtual, and we will look for collaborations and partnerships. Finally, let's look at the risk factors and mitigations. So there are technical risks. We're going to have to push for code audits. Obviously, the DAODAO code itself doesn't need auditing, but if we decide to add any features to our DAO in the future, they may need auditing. Those are the technical risks. Financial risks may arise from market volatility, fluctuations in token value. You can get into a death spiral where the value of your token goes down, so then your budget suddenly decreases. Spoke about that both in my book and in recent DAO Watch videos. There are ways to mitigate that. If we hold tokens in USDC as opposed to holding the value in CryptoSI DAO tokens, or we hold it in Atom, which I'd say probably is the best way to do it. Hold it in Atom, possibly stake it if it's possible, and that way we won't see the huge fluctuations. But those are very real risks for DAOs. If the stable coin that we're holding, USDC for example, or UST, Terra Luna, if anyone remembers that from a year ago today, I think, they can depeg and you could lose all of that value. So all of these things need to be constantly assessed by the DAO, and money needs to be moved around after discussion, etc. Legal and regulatory risks. Obviously, there is no legal force in the world that can stop a DAO. However, if we do fall foul of some kind of legal, I don't know, rule set, it could be bad. Could mean delisting from exchanges for the token. It could mean that certain people get put on some sort of blacklist, or the Americans start phoning them. These are things that we're going to have to really look at once the DAO is launched. Can't really look at it before the DAO is launched, because you can't get a legal opinion on things that you don't know what you're going to do. So the idea behind this really is to monitor changes in the regulatory landscape and adapt the DAO's operations accordingly to minimize the legal risks. I think that line really sums it up perfectly. Foster open and transparent communication with regulators and lawmakers. Like, you never know how big the DAO will get, so I added that. Maybe we can lobby and indulge in the corruption like all the other big organizations do. Operational risks, we'll skip that, but you can read all of this in the white paper for yourself. Social risks, this one is quite a high one, because often you have social issues that you don't even realize you have. We need to have clear guidelines and community values. People need to know how they can behave in our social spaces. If we have a Discord, or we have a No Star, whatever we have, people need to know how to behave. We need to have conflict resolution and moderation. So if two people can't agree on something, or two groups can't agree on something, we need to have a set method for escalating conflicts and resolving them. Reputation management, education and communication, etc., etc. Then I've got an even bigger part about legal stuff, but I'm not going to go into that because this video is long enough. So in a nutshell, that is the overall conclude, that is the white paper as it stands so far, along with the tokenomics. So we kind of know where we stand at the moment. Hopefully people are getting a better idea of what this DAO is going to be all about. It's going to be all about creating Dapps and creating things and investing in things and building value for the DAO itself. So it's like a old cooperative for people who are older than me, whereby everybody owns a little bit and this thing just grows and grows. Thank you for watching. The next episode, I believe we should be either looking at the tokenomics document in depth or considering the actual launch of the project, or how we're going to promote and discuss the launch with the JUNO community. I've already made friends in JUNO. I've literally been in the JUNO community for less than a week and I've already made friends there. I know everyone says it's cliche, but they're nice guys, you know, whatever. Let's see how engaged we can get them. Let's see if we can find, I had already had a discussion with a developer today, which was the second developer I've actually had a discussion with regarding building things for CryptoSI DAODAO. So that's what I guess the next episode will be about. Until then, thanks for watching. Please like, share, subscribe, all of that good stuff, especially share, so that we can get more and more people involved in this movement. It's like a meme coin, but with actual things that it's doing. So it's not just going to pump for a day. We're going to actually build something. The plan is that I can set it, build it, and then I can walk away or I can get kicked out. I want the DAO to be so strong that if I act up, I get kicked out, as happened to me before in DAOs. I acted up when I worked for PivX and I got kicked out. So I want the DAO to become that strong that it doesn't need me or it doesn't need any particular single person. If they act up, they can get kicked out. So the only way to do that is to invite more people and to continue to build. So let's do that. Thank you very much for watching. I will see you later.